Hi, everybody. Michelangelo Badia here with Joey, Robert, and another installment of No Boundaries. And I have to admit, I was on tour most of the year. And when I've been home, I've been playing catch up on all the business things. And, it's funny. My dad always used to he always had a lot of sayings, which is why I kind of learned that and use those a lot. But he didn't really make them up. He just used them in his everyday language. And he always used to say that some people are too busy to take care of business. And when I get home from the road, I've got all the bills paid online, everything's automatic, but there's so many little things, and I always write out lists, and I write things out by hand. I'm more than capable of using a computer to do all that, the to-do lists online, but I like to physically write, and I find it just keeps, coordination skills in your hands and motor coordination. But I had so many things to do that you look at it, it's like, well, where are you going to get time? And then I'm leaving to go on tour again. So I thought that why not let's just talk about touring. Before we do that, I want to say hi to a couple of people. I want to say hi to Cynthia. You're always there. I really appreciate it. And Cynthia always asks great questions, and I don't get to answer all of them, a lot of them. I look at, because we get hundreds of questions each live stream, and I do my best. But hey, Denny, how are you? There's Nick, good friend Nick, and great player, great artist, and he's got a cool double guitar too. But who else? Let's see. There's Tanya, Alexis, Brett, Roxana, Jenny, my buddy Rob, and so. But yeah, it's Cynthia. I'm glad you understand. I try my best. There's John, Juan. And then I see a person from Malaysia. I've been to Malaysia twice. Great country. Really humid. And I was there in summertime for both times. Anyway, I thought today's show, and there's Jenny, and I said hello to Jenny. And anyway, thumbs him up. 2 thumbs up. The metal sign with thumbs. This is when I feel like playing slow. This is the pentatonic metal sign, because you can't flick it too fast. The true metal sign, or this. I did something funny. You know how when people unwind their hand and do the flip-off thing? Well, Joey was in a metal mood. The power of rock compels you. But anyway, I thought today, do I like Nuno Betancourt's music? I do. Oh, I saw you twice in Peru. Yeah, I love Peru. Lima. But anyway, I like Nuno's music. In fact, I have one of his Washburn guitars up in my collection called the P3. And Nuno told me it stood for Princess. I've known Nuno a long time. And, we're not the closest friends, but we're on a first name basis. We've talked numerous times over the years. I think he's great. I love the new Extreme song. I think he rips on it. And he looks great, too. It's a good case. Sometimes... I've mentioned this before, people say, oh, not just to me, but to any rocker. Oh, why don't you dress your age? Or like, say, a pretty woman that's older that has a really great figure and puts on a bikini. Well, why don't you just tone it down and act your age? Screw that. Let me tell you something about looking rock. Okay, I live rock. I live metal. I want to look the way I live, and the way I live affects the way I play. The way I think affects the way I play. So if I look in the mirror and I look like I should be selling Geico insurance, I'm going to sell you some car insurance. And what do you want, $500 deductible? And so when you think about yourself, who are you? I think of myself as metal to the core. And so it helps me, I play better. It's really a lifestyle. It's way more than just looking like something. And, if people want to complain about it, I love it because they don't get it. If I was in the business world, if I was in the corporate world, I would look so corporate you can't even believe it. And I'd wear suits all the time if that's what it took. Because I think, to project what you do is important. Nobody confuses me with the manager of the band when I'm on tour. And I wanted to talk about touring today. And because Somebody said, so cool seeing all this happen for you. That's Richard. And somebody said, I'm one of the baddest metal guitarists of all time. Well, thank you. I work really hard at this. Nobody gave it to me. Nobody one day said, well, Michael, you have talent, you have a look, and we're just going to give it to you. It really doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, it's still, you've got to put in the work. One thing I have learned, I talked about this. I do a great Gilbert Gottfried. Today, I'm going to talk about touring, but I'm looking at a lot of questions. Okay, Denny, he asked how many guitars. I got to add them up because I just got 3 in the last week. I have been adding to my collection. I got a 12-string 1997 Rickenbacker electric that's just absolutely beautiful. It's that blonde flame maple color, book match flame maple, and then I bought an 88 Gibson ES335 that Adam did some research on for me, and he knew a lot about it to begin with, and it's tricked out a little bit. So we're gonna find a little more. There's 2 input jacks. I didn't even notice that one. And then I also bought a Tradition guitar, one of my signature guitars, my very first signature series from the year 2000. A great friend of mine, JD Juan, bought it for me. He saw it at a music store. And I told the store I wanted to buy it, so they turned around and sold it to JD, not knowing JD was buying it for me. I thought that was great. But anyway, so I can, I've got to add it all up because I've been acquiring some guitars, and a few guitars that I had duplicates I sold recently. So I've got to look at the numbers, but I'm up to around 240. It's got to be around 240 now. But I just love guitars. I can't get enough of it. Somebody said, Nick just said he liked the version of Long Way From Home. I wanted to say the Nitro song. I saw some other great comments here, so I might as well talk a lot about the comments. What I can say about Nitro, I want to talk to you guys just briefly about Jim Gillette. Jim Gillette is the singer of Nitro, was the original singer. We did his first solo album when he was 19 years old. Jim just won, he is a black belt for real in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he just won 2 championships at the Pan American Games for martial arts. He has multiple championships in all these different weight classes. Jim has always been the real deal. And I'm really proud to know him. We're like family. He's like a brother. My parents loved him. My dad grew up in the Depression, and he always used to say that they always got into fights. My dad told me he actually enjoyed fighting. And Jim is a death machine times 100. He is absolute death. And we were talking about the latest matches, and he was telling me these things like where the opponent will make a move, and he said it's almost like seeing it in slow motion, that he understands the move, and in his brain he's thinking about, as the guy's doing it, how he's going to counter. But he has multiple world-class championships. He is a world champion in the baddest martial arts form. Have you seen those things online where people that do taekwondo or tai chi or different forms of martial arts, they do this hand stuff, and then the students fall to the ground, and then an MMA fighter and a jiu-jitsu fighter, there's a guy that goes in there and proves all these guys that they're all just a bunch of BS. Jim is walking, living death for real. We are not exaggerating anything. When on the OFR album, when Jim said he was fighting MAB, he wasn't kidding around. And when we said OFR, we were OFR. There's nothing fake about Jim. And I just love it because we talk about it. He's motivational for me because, we both like to excel at a high level. And, I don't want to say like Lennon and McCartney, but somebody like Jim, it always helps me to stay motivated and focused on what the task is, because Jim is brilliant at it. But anyway, congratulations again to Jim Gillette. I pity, and the thing here's the great thing about Jim. He never really, if you met him, he's the nicest guy in the world. He's unassuming. He doesn't talk about martial arts. He knows he can kill you. He does not talk about it. It's not something that comes up. It's like, if it's not casual conversation with him, if somebody knows he's into it and he brings it up. But he is, I mean, to win world championships in all these different weight divisions, that's pretty impressive. And then he's 11 years younger than me, and I'm not exactly young. He's still at a super high level. And so, and again, it's how you feel, how you look, I play young because I feel young. I try to look just like a good version of my younger self. That's it. There's not, I don't go like this. No, I've had no facial surgery at all. I've had nothing done to my face. And so, but anyway, that's my my talk. And yeah, somebody wrote Jim's vocals are insane. Yeah, he really did it. It was just great. I love it. Just play a little bit. I'm using the ChromaCast string dampener, my patent on. I love this guitar. This is the Sawtooth ET Hybrid. Now, we sold out of pretty much everything over the holidays, and now the new shipments are going to be coming in. But, I wanted to also talk a little bit about that. Sawtooth has their 10-year anniversary this year. So they've been doing all these different sales, and, they're just a fantastic company. And one of the core companies of Sawtooth is ChromaCast. So if you go online and you want to buy a guitar stand or a keyboard stand or picks or strings or, accessories for virtually every instrument you can possibly think of, that's ChromaCast. And that's the other company that's affiliated with this. And it's kind of when you look at it just in life, to be more diversified, diversification, where you don't put your eggs in just one basket, as they say. But Sawtooth they're just a fantastic company. But then they have this additional company, ChromaCast, that is just, put it this way, not everybody's going to buy a guitar at the same time. It's ebbs and flows. During COVID, you couldn't. We were one of the only companies that actually had guitars in stock, and it was banner time for COVID. Now that a lot of people have guitars, well, they still need accessories. They still need stands. They need strings. They need picks. I need picks. I'm waiting for a shipment to come in, and for my tour. And so Sawtooth is covered in that area. They have ChromaCast, this big equipment company. And also they do things like, for example, to be during COVID, how brilliant the people at Sawtooth are. They became an essential business by selling non-alcoholic real wine. Now think about that. You're a music company and COVID shut you down, and the governments of the United States, certain states shut everybody down. There was no rhyme or reason to it. You're done. And a lot of businesses went belly up. They went bankrupt. But ChromaCast and Sawtooth thrived because the people were really smart and they really cared. And now, everybody's got guitars. So, our guitars are going to be coming in, the new models, very soon. But so if people that bought the guitars, they still need the accessories for them. That's not going to change. You're going to run out of guitar picks. You're going to need guitar strings, and ChromaCast handles all that. It's a pretty brilliant strategy. Somebody wrote, my cover of Little Wing. Yeah, thanks. I really love playing Hendrix stuff, and I like to play it my own way. And I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to talk about touring. I just got off a huge tour with Man-O-War. I'm the guitarist in Man-O-War, and Man-O-War is a gigantic band. To see the stage set up, it's just unbelievable. We were selling out venues overseas that Kiss plays at. So this is the level that it is. It's the A level of touring, and it's really an incredible thing to work with Joey DeMaio, and he's just amazing. Or Eric, Adams, the singer, is fantastic. he's absolutely fantastic, and Dave, the drummer's really good and solid and doesn't make mistakes, and the lighting is just, second to none. I mean, like people like, when you see Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and like Chris, for example, one of the guitarists, the main guy from Savatage, I know him not super well, but pretty well. And, we chat back and forth, and we've hung out together before. But, when you get to that level of touring, I mean, it's pretty insane. And I'm going to be playing more, a lot more shows with Manowar. We're playing the new album. I'm on the new album with them. And, I am the guitarist, the official guitarist. Also, I had committed to do a tour during COVID that I had to cancel twice that I'm doing now starting April 20th. And it's a guitar tour where I'm going to be playing my instrumental music, and I get to do Tribute to Dime and my Van Halen medley and No Boundaries and my new double guitar solo, all the cool stuff that I like to play and that I would do in my solo show, but it's with a band. We start April 20th, and also on the bill is Gus G., great guitarist in the band Firewind. Andrea Martingelli from the band Artemis. He's also the head of the heavy metal division in MMI in Europe. And then a guy named Rowan Robertson, who I gotta tell you guys, I didn't know who he was at first. I had heard he played with Dio, and I know that he was real young, and people have corrected me on that, and I apologize, Rowan. I didn't know. I know Vivian Campbell. I know him, and I know Craig Goldie. I know him, too. So I only knew those two guitar players with Dio. And but it's going to be 4 guitarists of death, doom, and destruction. And then it's going to be part of a guitar contest, but we are playing all over the place. It's going to be in Italy, many shows in Italy, Germany, Greece, Cyprus, the Czech Republic. Let's see, I think it's Sofia. Yeah, it's Bulgaria. We're playing in Hungary. So it's I posted the tour schedule, and it's about 24 to 25 shows in 30 days. And then I pick it up again and play with Manowar in Istanbul for a huge, huge open-air concert. So anyway, but it's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, Chris Oliva was awesome, too. Somebody wrote, am I coming to L.A.? One of the things that I get all the time, dude, there's no shows in the Netherlands. I just played there last month. Somebody wrote, are you coming to L.A.? I just spent 2 weeks in L.A. a week ago. And I don't get mad about it, but it's like, and I know that people, your life is not based around looking at my schedule. I just find the irony of it, dude, come to L.A. Well, I was just there. Oh, and I promote like crazy. Or, we don't see you in Turkey. I'm going to be there in June. Oh, okay. And, but I just love, I'll get to, I hope you'll get to Germany again sometime. I've been to Germany so many times this year, I forgot. And I'm going back there again on tour. And so, people write, I didn't know. And I understand that. I really do. I'm not criticizing or making fun of anybody. You've got your own lives. I've got my life, but I do post all the time. If you are interested to find out where I'm at, I'm very visible on social media. Now, what I'm using here, these string dampeners work really well. We just, anything for the Hoosiers in Indiana. I love playing Indiana. Being from Chicago, I've been to Indiana so many times. There's nothing right now in the United States other than on the West Coast with the MAB band. So, anyway, but when I play in concert, I've got the string dampener, although I don't use it all the time, but I'll tell you, somebody wrote us, and I'm kind of moving around here because I want to get to a lot of questions. Somebody wrote, is it true that my famous 4-neck guitar was stolen? Yes, it was true. It is true. It got stolen on the second show of the Nitro Tour. It was stolen from 1989 until 2014. It got stolen in El Paso, Texas, and I actually bought 2 of the 4 guitars back for £1,500 in London, England. So if it could talk, it had quite a story. And I have to admit, when I got the guitar back, the 2 top ones, which were 7 strings, they were really beat up. I mean, it was, that guitar had gone through hell. And but I got the two top ones back, and I've assembled it into a double guitar. If you look at the Freight Train video, you'll see a double guitar that's actually half of the quad in some of it. And so I had the 4-neck guitar, but then I could actually make that guitar into 2 or 3 or even 1. It was pretty cool. And let's see. What else? What do I avoid practicing in D standard? D, I think you're talking about when you say D standard, I think you mean down a whole step. When I played the original Speed Kills, I played it in E position. But on Speed Kills, see, Nitro tuned down to D. We tuned down a whole step because it sounded heavier, and 7 strings weren't that popular back then, but we wanted that heavy sound. Now see here, I'm in E flat. So when you move it down, it's just heavy. And then, obviously with 7 strings, you don't have to do that. But I would say it doesn't really matter if you use D standard or I don't really call it that. I call it just down a whole step or down a half step, because A440, that's standard tuning. When you drop it or raise it, you're dropping it a half step or a whole step. That's not standard tuning anymore. You're just dropping it from standard tuning to something else. But it really doesn't matter. What matters is that I played it in the E minor position, and then you can detune it or keep it wherever you want. Pray On. Pray On Pray is really cool. I really love that song, and I want to do it. Somebody had mentioned that, Adam, can you do me a favor? Can you hand me the black M24 there? Pray On Pray. I used a drop D tuning. See, if I was... I'm going to just show you guys a little bit of Pray On Pray. Yeah, it sounds heavy. And one of the reasons things sound heavy today are just modern high-gain amps. I'm using sawtooth amps here, and, they're just really, really good. And then I have an overdriver that I use. I don't endorse a company anymore. I have a couple signature overdrives, but I'm just more of a tube screamer guy. Okay, let me just show you. When I did Pray On Pray now, I dropped it down a half step. I'm in concert pitch here. What I did was I just took the E and I drop D'd it. And all I did was just lower that string a whole step. I'll tell you who does this all the time. Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge and Creed. This is his writing style. I mean, he dropped D's so much. And I mean, he's a #1 hit songwriter. But so I came up with this riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's way out. It's very chromatic, but I came up with this melody. And so I had this melody that's really pretty over the top. And then I had this. Just killer. Yeah, Eddie Van Halen, I see this. He did drop D. In fact, I have a Van Halen guitar from the late 90s with a, what do they call that? It's like a thing on the locking trem. You just pull it out and it automatically drops D's. But I like this guitar. things that makes this cool is, see, now you're tuned in fifths. A violin is tuned in fifths, and they call the neck the speaking length of the instrument. And violin can reach vast intervallic things where, because the strings, see, the guitar is basically tuned in fourths and then a third from B to G. So it's quartal tuning. But a violin, all four strings are in fifths. So the lowest string is a G. That would be equivalent to like the third fret of the sixth string on guitar. So it's G, D, and then what's the fifth of D? A, and then what's the fifth of A? E. So you've got these, if you put your fingers like this on a guitar, you're only dealing in fourths. But if you do it on a violin, you're reaching a much wider intervallic, just the intervals from the lowest note to the highest note. And then when you couple that with a speaking length that's only this big versus a guitar, you can cover just a tremendous amount of territory. And then I don't know if Eddie Van Halen invented the D-tuner, but I wouldn't put it past him. He invented a lot of things. But anyway, I love these guitars. The M24, it's one of my go-to guitars. I beat the hell out of this guitar. I've got the Chromacast string dampener on it. I tune this up and down all the time. So sometimes it's in concert pitch, sometimes it's half step. Man of War, like Nitro, we tune down a whole step. And so I drop it a whole step. It depends on what I do, but this guitar is just really a go-to guitar. And I show it no mercy. None of my guitars get mercy. They must play. And but anyway, one of the things, like I was saying about touring, is that I've done so much extensive touring, but a lot of it is the mindset. I mean, you get tired. I mean, my double guitar weighs 15 pounds. That's like 7 kilos. And so, put that around your neck for 10 or 15 minutes a day for 25 days out of a month. I've never really had serious neck problems. I've never had hand injuries. I've had things happen, to me where I've gotten injured playing, like I had a light fall on me. I have 2 massive scars on my hands. I almost tore my tendon in my thumb, and I got thrown through a window when I was a kid. I mean, not that I was so rowdy, but my friend and I were goofing around, and he pushed me, and I literally went through a window. It was by accident. He didn't mean it. But I have these 2 scars. I had a light fall on me here. I've got a V-shaped scar. I've had carpeting on stairs that wasn't tacked down where it moved, and I slammed my shin against a metal stair walking up on a stage, and it's bleeding like crazy, and I still am playing. So I don't make excuses. You have to do the show. Let's see. Keep up the amazing guitar play. One of the things that somebody said who first experimented with drop tunings. I don't know the names, but the guitar has been around for many centuries. Before it was a guitar, the forerunner of the guitar was the lute, L-U-T-E. And guitar was always a rhythm instrument until the electric guitar. And the reason is very simple. It just wasn't loud enough. A trumpet, So a trumpet could just inherently play louder because it was a higher pitch. You could blow a lot of air through it, whereas a guitar was always a background instrument up until the electric guitar. Because no matter how hard you strum, you couldn't out-volume another instrument that was just like a brass instrument, or certain instruments that were just physically louder. They just made a louder tone. So for throughout much of the guitar's history, up until the electric, now granted, you did have classical guitars, but classical guitars weren't that popular, in the 1800s. Even though the classical guitar was around, it really came to popularity when orchestra halls were able to mic guitars, and they would mic the stage. Even if you don't see it, they could actually amplify the tone within the venue. And that's, once amplification and all its forms came in, the guitar became a lead instrument. But so when somebody said, well, who was the first to do drop tunings? who knows? It could have been somebody in the court of Germany or England or Spain, France, somebody that had a lute that was a singer and said, you know what, if I tune it a little different, I can get these really interesting chords. And that's really all it came down to. I mean, it's like Mark Tremonti. He's a number one hit songwriter. And when he drops D's, when he drops that low string, and you hear songs like, "Are you ready?" Hey, it all falls into place for him. He hears it like that, and you have that wider interval. So things that are really easy on guitar, but are not that far apart intervallically, are farther apart when you have that extra whole step lower. So it's just interesting to me. Okay, Tony Iommi tuned down lower to get tension on his strings. That I do not know. I really don't know that. I love Black Sabbath. Anyway, Sawtooth has their 10-year anniversary. They've got a bunch of specials. And also, I'm going to be going on tour April 20th with Gus G., Andrea Martingelli, and Rowan Robertson. And I'm going to be playing, my brand new double guitar solo. It's a full band. We've got Roberto Pirami that I've played with many times over the years in Europe, and a new bass player that I'll meet, but I'm sure he's fantastic. But also, more Manowar shows. And, there's something I want to say about Metal Method, too. Like, Doug Marks is like a brother to me, too. I won't say he's as close as Jim Gillette is, because Jim and I are like, my parents loved Jim. They looked at him like a second son. My dad was like, he was always beaming about Jim. He just loved him. And my mom, I remember when Jim swore on stage, I told Jim, I go, you can't swear, my parents are here. And Jim's like, yeah, he did what he wanted anyway. And my mom's like, he's so handsome. And oh, what a fantastic stage performance singer. My mom just loved Jim. He was like a second son to my parents. And we've been close ever since. With Doug Marks has taught more people to play guitar pretty much than MAB. Doug has millions of guitar students around the world. He was the first one that did the guitar instructional video. I mean, think about that. Somebody did it. It was Doug. And I still work with him. I'm a loyal person. I love working with Metal Method. And speed kills in my programs continue to sell well. And there's a reason for this. There's a lot of great young guitar players out, and they're doing new advanced and really beautiful things on guitar. I really love where guitar is at right now. But if you want to learn how to alternate pick to play all those new things, if you want to learn legato, if you want to learn economy picking, you still can't beat speed kills, because I broke it down to the essential things that will enable you to master a technique. And you can write all the exercises in the world, and I love when people do, but it all comes down to, you still have to go down, up, down, up, down, up for alternate, or economy down, up, down, up, sweep picking, legato. There are exercises on speed kills that I used methodology from when I studied classical piano. And 100 years from now, speed kills will still be as viable, because it's not about telling you anything about what to like. It's not about, oh, this is jazz, or this is metal, or this is crabcore. I just learned about crabcore. How wide can you spread your legs and just do one of these? And so it's not about any genre. It's about pure technique. And technique gets better and better as the generations go on. Well, at least we hope so. Just like athletes are stronger. But the simple down-up mechanism, the way it's done, it hasn't really changed much in the last 100 years. And the exercises are still as viable today as when I put them out in the 90s, and they're going to still be as useful and viable in decades to come, because I did the study for you. I did all the studying and all the research to give you the best program that I could. Well, anyway, that's about it for today. I just love working with Sawtooth. I really do. And, I've been very blessed to have the career that I've got. It's better than ever. I'm just so busy. It's insane. I can't even tell you some of the stuff that I'm doing because, there's confidentiality clauses. But wait till you see some of the new videos that I've been filming. That's another side of it. But anyway, I hope to see everybody on tour. I'll be back next week, and next week is going to be almost all playing. I just wanted to, I've been on the road a lot, and I'm just catching up, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life lately, and it's crazy. I love it, and I never take it for granted. But you look how you feel is how you look, how you feel is how you play, how you feel is how you live, how you look is how you live, and so it's all synergy. One thing leads to another. One thing helps the other that helps the other. So the thing that I love most about metal is that it's more than just playing riffs or notes. It's a lifestyle for a lot of people. I mean, I've met so many people on tour this year where they've got these great day jobs. They might be IT people or, computer programmers or this, but they're metalheads. And this metal, it's like the thread that weaves together to bind us all. It's really cool. But anyway, I hope to see you on tour next week. I promise you will be it'll be a live stream of 99% playing. Anyway, I'm Michelangelo Badio. I'm Joey!